Hi, Ed here from keywordspeopleuse.com, and I've got an exclusive time-limited offer for you. If you book a product demo with Keywords People Use, I'll give you a free 7-day trial of our standard plan, which allows you access to our new content optimization tool. This tool hooks into your Google Search Console data so we can find all the keywords you're ranking for and what pages are ranking. We then crawl your site content and use advanced machine learning techniques like embeddings and cosine similarity to find you content optimization opportunities that will quickly boost your impressions and clicks from Google. This new feature in Keywords People Use is already showing results for people using it. Don't miss out on the opportunity of a 7-day free trial. Just go to keywordspeopleuse.com/demo to book your slot. That's keywordspeopleuse.com/demo. You'll find the link in the show notes of this episode. Hello and welcome to SEO is Not That Hard. I'm your host Ed Dawson, the founder of the SEO intelligence platform keywordspeopleuse.com, where we help you discover the questions people ask online and then how to optimize your content to build traffic and authority. I've been in SEO and online marketing for over 20 years, and I'm here to share the wealth of knowledge, hints and tips I've amassed over that time. Hello and welcome back to SEO is Not That Hard. It's me here, Ed Dawson, hosting as usual, and today I'm going to be talking about vibe coding. Now, this is a new term. It's only recently been coined, and it's a way of describing the kind of revolution that's happening in software development, and especially software development for people who aren't necessarily coders. And whatever you do in SEO, whatever you do online, software underpins it all. Software development underpins everything that we do and we use. And for most people, it's been completely out of reach, but vibe coding is a way of potentially broadening that reach, or even for people who actually are developers. I mean, I myself have a software engineering degree, computer science, and, I have done a lot of programming time. I am, by my own admission, not the world's greatest coder, but I do understand coding principles. I do understand coding. I've done it professionally. It's not what I do most of my time nowadays. We have a team here who are developers who are much more talented developers than I am. But vibe coding is a way that bridges that gap partially between, hardcore development and being able to get things off the ground. So let's dive into it and talk about what it actually is. So what is vibe coding? Well, in simple terms, vibe coding is an AI-driven approach to writing code. So instead of typing out every detail, developers can now describe what they want in natural language, almost like giving the AI a set of vibes and letting the machine generate the code. Now, this idea was popularized by a guy called Andrej Karpathy, who's a very well-known computer scientist, and he's a former Tesla AI director and was also listed as one of the co-founders of OpenAI. So he's a guy that really knows his stuff. And he described it as not really coding in the traditional sense. So rather than sort of wrestling with every syntax error or logic bug, what you do is you provide your requirements and AI tools will do the heavy lifting. So like imagine telling your computer, hey, make a sidebar with some extra padding and watch it happen almost like magic as it does it. So why is vibe code getting so much attention all of a sudden? Well, first of all, accessibility and speed. Vibe coding lowers the barrier to entry. So even people with minimal or even no coding experience can now prototype an app by using these AI tools. For many people, it's like having an expert developer on call. You can just articulate your idea, and within a few minutes, you can see a working model, even if it's not perfect. It's been noted that, and I've seen examples of people out there, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, who are total beginners when it comes to software, actually managing to start building something functional very quickly. And it uses, natural language as code. So, prior to this, to be able to program, you had to sort of learn how to syntactically create computer programs. You had to understand how the language worked, the syntax, the language, and how to build it together. But with vibe coding, you just need natural language, English in most cases, but I presume it probably works in other languages if you're talking to your AI in your own natural language if it isn't English. And you just, you speak your requirements or type your requirements, and the AI will then translate this into code for you. It's a completely different way of doing things. And I've been someone who's done this the traditional way, which was just the normal way before AI came along, it's really, really, different and unusual way of doing things. And it allows for rapid prototyping, okay, and iterating. So coding can be, really time consuming. Debugging, tweaking, refining, it might take days or even weeks. With vibe coding, if the AI produces an error, you can just simply copy and paste the error message back into the system and it will often fix itself. And this kind of dynamic back and forth can really accelerate the development process, and it can be really good for creating sort of quick minimum MVPs, minimum viable products. And I've used this myself or recently when trying to spec things for my developers. I can quite often create code and code examples really quickly to share with them. Now, okay, this is unusual for me that I am a developer, but my skills are so rusty, and the languages that we now use nowadays that all our stuff is built in, I'm not very familiar with because my coding experience is really quite old. But using AI, I can really quickly start and say I might go to ChatGPT for an example, and I might say I want to create this tool in JavaScript that will say, for example, connect to Google Search Console, we'll download some data, we'll create an interface that's clickable in a certain way. And I essentially, if you see the search analytics tool that we have now on Keywords People Use, the very first prototype for that I created using this kind of vibe coding technique. This was back end of last year, so it wasn't vibe coding as a term's only really been coined since February 2025. So I didn't know it was vibe coding then, but that was just what I was doing. I was using it and I was going back and forth with the AI to create a basic prototype that I could show developers and say, right, this is how I want it to work. This is how I want it to do certain features. This is how I want it to sort of pull the data in on the fly and that kind of thing. And so it proved that it was a thing that was possible to do, and it gave a basic interface. So what kind of tools are people using to do this? So some of the most common ones are Cursor, which is an integrated development environment which has a composer section which allows you to type in your requirements and then it will start creating code for you around it. And these tools are iterating themselves so fast. The things they can do now compared to just a couple of months ago, they're getting more and more advanced and more capable of creating polished code and getting it to a deployable state. Another one is Replit. Again, this is one which comes with its own online integrated development environment. And again, the same process, you can start talking to it, typing to it, saying what your requirements are, and it'll start building code for you on the fly. And you can see it build the code, and you can test the code in it, and it can help deploy it. And there's others like Bolt and Lovable, which ones I haven't used, but they're again the same kind of process. And also you can just talk to ChatGPT. If you're, I say, probably a more confident developer and can set up your own environments and that kind of thing, then using ChatGPT or Claude's very good as well at this, for helping you develop and fix problems that, if you're a more experienced developer, you can find that using AI to help you talk through problems, solve problems, and work out ways of achieving things that it just might have taken you a hell of a lot of research and trial and error. Otherwise, you can achieve so much more quickly with these AI tools. So here's me banging on about vibe coding. What does it have to do with SEO? Well, because simply put, everyone who has anything to do with SEO has to deal with lots of data. And there's plenty of tools out there to help you do it. We've got Keywords People Use. We've got the things we've built there that can help people. But there's always going to be things that you'll find that are specific to you. And you may find that you have small tools that you want to develop yourself. This is like I'm talking to you now for those of you who aren't developers. This is where this can actually help you create what they call software for one. So if you have a problem and you want to solve it, and you want to solve it at scale, and you want some software to do it for you, you could use vibe coding to actually create something that works for you. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be something that you don't have to consider the things that we do when say, for example, at keywords people use, we've got, thousands of users. We have to be able to make sure it's scalable to that number of people. We have to make sure that it's fault tolerant, so that it's reliable, all those kind of things that you do when you've got customers at scale. But if you're just trying to solve a problem just for yourself, you don't need it to be perfect. You don't need it to be polished. You just need it to work and for you to be able to use it. And you can use vibe coding to create those pieces of software and those tools just for you. And I think we're going to see this happen more and more, especially as these tools like Replit and Cursor are getting much better at also making them deployable. So that's one way it can help anyone who's an SEO. Anyone who's a developer and working in SEO, then this kind of vibe coding can really help you. If, for example, you have a team and you want to be able to create sort of prototypes for them to work off, that's really valuable. That's how I use it. And it helps speed up the process of getting software from an idea out of your head into something that's deployable for people to use. Because if you're trying to get an idea across to a developer, if you've got something that you demonstrate the actual functionality, even if it's raw and unpolished, then that's an incredible accelerator for them when it comes to understanding what it is you're actually trying to achieve. And if you're actually a developer, then you can actually use AI generated code in a way that can really accelerate your output as well, because you can let the AI do a lot of the heavy lifting. And you also have the advantage of understanding the code underneath, so that if there are issues, if there are problems, if there are bugs, the AI can help you find them, but also you can help the AI find it, because sometimes the AI can get lost in loops. This is where I suppose we can come to what are the downsides of this. And I think, the big downside is the balance of speed with quality. You can create stuff really fast with vibe coding. That can be at the expense of quality. The tools themselves that do this are improving all the time. So this is one that I think will become less of an issue over time. But right now, I see people creating stuff and get really excited. But as soon as they get to a certain point with it, the AIs can't handle the complexity of a large system and balancing all the different issues. Because with software, it's quite easy to add one piece, change one piece of code, and it will break something else elsewhere that you don't realize. And this is where, past a certain point, where this vibe coding, I think, has its stumbling block at the moment. I found that certainly when I've been using it to try and create stuff, that I can get so far along with something and get something really advanced, and then I make one small change to it and it can break something catastrophically. And it can be sometimes hard for the AI to recover that. It can be hard for you to recover it. So it can, there are still limitations at this point, but it is definitely getting better all the time. So come back in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, who knows how far down the line and how this will have advanced. But I think for now, you still need definitely that human in the loop to have at least have the overview of what an entire system is meant to do, and how to watch and maintain quality and testing over the life cycle of developing something. That's still not there. But vibe coding is definitely, if you said to me 5 years ago that people could do this, I just wouldn't have believed you. So the pace it's coming on is insane. And I would encourage you to try it out, even if it's just for experimental purposes. Try something out. It's amazing to see how you can build things, especially if you have never developed anything before in your life. It's really, really interesting. And as I say, software for one. If you've got a problem you're trying to solve and you need some software to do it, you can now create that basic software without any development knowledge. So it's really, really interesting. So that's it for today. I know it wasn't massively SEO focused, but I think as SEOs, you need to be aware of how these things are evolving, because it probably will come into your sphere sometime very soon. Get ahead of it, try it out. So that's it for now. So until next time, remember, keep optimizing, stay curious, and remember, SEO is not that hard when you understand the basics. Thanks for listening. It means a lot to me. This is where I get to remind you where you can connect with me and my SEO tools and services. You can find links to all the links I mentioned here in the show notes. Just remember, with all these places where I use my name, the Ed is spelled with 2 Ds. You can find me on LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Just search for Ed Dawson on both. You can record a voice question to get answered on the podcast. The link is in the show notes. You can try our SEO intelligence platform, Keywords People Use, at keywordspeopleuse.com, where we can help you discover the questions and keywords people are asking online, post those questions and keywords into related groups so you know what content you need to build topical authority, and finally, connect your Google Search Console account for your sites so we can crawl and understand your actual content. Find what keywords you rank for and then help you optimize and continually refine your content with targeted, personalized advice to keep your traffic growing. If you're interested in learning more about me personally or looking for dedicated consulting advice, then visit www.eddawson.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.